Hey there. Alright, today we're going to talk about had better. Now had better is very simple. We use had better before the verb to explain that I need to do something or there's going to be a bad consequence. For example, if I have this situation, then I can use the modal verb had better to express that I need an umbrella because if I don't have an umbrella, it is possible that I'm going to get wet because it's obviously going to rain. So I could say, I had better take an umbrella. In this case, I put had better, oops, because I want to say that this action is necessary, and if I don't do this action, there's going to be a negative consequence. So I say I had better take an umbrella because if I don't take an umbrella, I'm going to get wet. That's basically the idea of had better. There's no complicated explanation or anything. It's just we use had better to give a suggestion that could have negative consequences in the future. In this sentence, we could use, for example, the modal verb should and say, I should take an umbrella. The problem with should is that should is for a suggestion. It's telling me, okay, it's a good idea to take an umbrella, but it's not giving me the necessary emphasis, the necessary stress that I need for this sentence. If I say, I should take an umbrella, maybe the other person can think, oh, it's a good idea, but it's not necessary. When I say, I had better take an umbrella, is because I absolutely need to take an umbrella because if I don't take it, there's going to be a negative consequence. Alright? Alright, now let's take a look at the grammar of had better. As you can see, had better is composed of two words. Alright? Had and better. But the reality is, we almost never say had better in the separate form. We almost always use had better in the contracted form. So we're going to take had and we're going to contract it to the pronoun or the subject. Okay? And so in the end, what I'm going to say is, I'd better take an umbrella. Alright? So we're almost always going to have the contraction between had and the subject, whatever the subject is. Now let's talk about negative and questions. For the negative, we know that every time we have an auxiliary in a sentence and we want to transform that sentence into negative, we are going to transform the auxiliary into negative. So for example, if I have a sentence in present continuous and I say I am taking an umbrella, when I transform that sentence into negative, I'm going to say I am not taking an umbrella, and I'm going to put the not right after am. In this case, it's exactly the same. I'm going to put not right after the auxiliary. The auxiliary in this sentence is had better. So I'm going to say, I'd better not take an umbrella. Alright, so I'm going to delete this sentence over here. Actually, I'm going to move that sentence down so I can have some space to write the other sentence. So the negative form of this one would be, I'd better not take an umbrella. Okay? So we put the negative form not right after my auxiliary over here. The verb continues to be the same and everything in the sentence will continue to be the same. Now, what happens to the conjugation of the verb for, let's say, example, he, she, and it? Well, because had better is the auxiliary in the sentence, the verb is always going to be in the bare infinitive form, which means that it doesn't matter if I have I, he, she, it. It doesn't matter what subject or what pronoun I have here, the verb is always going to be the same. So if I change I, for example, for she, everything stays the same. And the sentence says, she'd better not take an umbrella. Now we normally don't use, actually we don't use had better in the form of a question. Because it is a strong suggestion, we don't use had better as a question. Now we can use should as a question because should is a suggestion but it's not a strong suggestion. Had better is always used in the affirmative and in the negative form. Okay? And that's everything you need to know about had better.